Welcome to the latest edition of the YDG podcast, where we're going to be discussing a balanced look at the impact of social media on young people today. I'm joined in by beautiful and wonderful delegates who I would like to introduce themselves.
Hello, my name is Delali Ajwa Tanu. I am in Human Rights and Youth Development. I'm a YDG delegate, and I'm excited to be part of this podcast.
My name is Abigail Ayamba. I work as a proposition support for women-led and startup businesses. I'm a retractor, and of course, I'm a YDG delegate. I'm super excited to be here.
My name is Michael Baini. I'm a medical doctor by profession, and then also I'm part of the YDG Cohort 5.
Today's discussion is going to center around the ability of young people today to engage in self-expression, networking, connections, and some sort of activism online. But then we also have to look at the fact that social media poses several challenges as well. For instance, the cyberbullying that goes on online sites, misinformation, so many other issues that we need to look at. Michael, I'll just tell us a bit about what you think social media is and how beneficial do you think it is? Do you think it's a necessary evil, or it's something that we have to do away with completely?
I think it's a very good thing. It has come to stay. I actually chanced on some staggering numbers of social media. Do you know that about 2 billion people are on social media across the world? This particular 2 billion doesn't mean the number of human beings, but the number of devices on social media, about 2 billion. And guess what? We oftentimes, it's actually a passive thing, so we don't really realize it because, there's passing moments of time, so you don't even realize that you're actually spending so much time on social media. Guess what? Another statistic. We spend more than 2 hours, 30 minutes a day on social media. That's huge. That means as you are on your phone, 15 minutes, then you go, 15. And this one is, I'm just talking about the people who just are liberal users, not people like myself who can switch from Twitter to Instagram to WhatsApp to Snapchat in 2 hours and not even have a break. So you realize that this particular discussion is very, very important, because if, let's say, we say that at least 2 hours, 30 minutes of your 24 hours is spent on social media, that means that it's very, very important. It has a way of affecting your productivity. It has a way of affecting your health, affects the way you even interact with people.
Exactly.
So it's actually very, very important. It's a very critical bit of information we're going to pull out today. So it's a good opportunity to also share my views on social media.
Yeah, that's actually true. So Abigail, Michael has told us a bit about social media. I just want to know from you, has there been any time in your life where you have been away from your phone for a number of minutes, hours? How did you feel about it? Did you feel depressed? Did you feel lonely? Just tell us a bit about that.
Okay, so if I'm working, I'm supposed to put my phone away, but I won't say it's easy. The least time I get, I'm taking my phone out, I'm checking WhatsApp. Has anybody sent me a message? Right. Instagram, who has posted what? So yes, it's if you are not online, it really feels lonely sometimes. But if you are also very engaged in what you are doing, then your mind is off social media.
Yeah.
But if you are not very engaged in what you are doing, then you are tempted to check what's going on. So yes, without using social media, it can be very, very lonely sometimes.
But just a bit on that as well. So whenever you have the chance to put your phone away and then you take your phone, maybe some minutes later, you realize not even a single person has texted you. Has it ever happened to you? How did you feel about it? Do you feel like, wow, so nobody cares about me? Or
yes, that's when, you find a lot of us posting on our status, we start,
I know my friends,
becoming motivational speakers, saying that, okay, so from now onwards, I know who loves me, I know my friends. Honestly, it gets lonely. And it's nice that you're at work, somebody says hello to you, But if you do not get that, then, I think we should find ways of, getting licensed to becoming motivational speakers or coaches.
Anyways, so Delali, also on the same subject, have you experienced anything of the sort? How do you feel whenever you put your phone away? Do you basically, how does it feel for you?
It feels like you're going to miss out on something. It feels like there's going to be an emergency and you're not going to be able to respond to it in time. I don't do that. I've never been able to successfully do it because there's so many forms of social media. Even if you block out your WhatsApp, there's Instagram. Sometimes you're having two different conversations with one person on different platforms.
Yeah.
And it doesn't cross over. And it's like, respond to me on Instagram while we're, And so social media is a big part of our lives now. And given that most people have access to the internet and to phones, and that penetration is even increasing, it's understandable. Even you said 2.5 hours per day. I would guess that it's even more for most of us here.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, guys, that's interesting. Personally, I have also experienced, times when I go away from my phone, I come back. I mean, I would have a text or two, but maybe it's not who you're expecting to talk to, you understand? And so you feel so
know your friends, isn't
really,
it?
I mean, I've been away for a whole 2 hours for like 10 hours, and this person's not even thinking about me. Wow, that's crazy.
Then you look for a meme, isn't it?
Just start typing things in your notes, everything to, tell the person that, wow, I think it's time to end things, because you don't really care about me, you understand? But just let's move a bit away from that. On the issue of hashtags, right? There's been a rise in hashtag activism. We have a lot of people going on the ground to do real work. But then where it happens that you're not able to stand maybe on the street, hold a placard, or express your grievances, we as the youth, we have our phones. That's our tool to communicate. That's our tool to express whatever social, political, economic issues that are going on in the country. So what do you think is the real benefits of these hashtags? Do you think it doesn't yield any results? What do you think can be done better to ensure that whatever results that we're looking for through these hashtags are actually realized? What do you say about that, Michael?
I think I never thought you were going to ask me this question, but I think it crossed my mind. I mean, when we started this particular week, I was just asking myself, why do we have this particular hashtags? And I think about 2 or 3 years ago, I had a session. This particular statistic I was actually throwing out, I actually learned it at a meeting. And I asked the person, why do people do hashtags? But he didn't give me a very, very good reason why people do hashtags. Or probably didn't sit well with me, or at the time, I didn't really understand what he was trying to say. But, I mean, recently, I just realized that the hashtags are very good because it helps you to be able to track certain messages that you've had. So for instance, me, anytime I post on social media, you see me add Mike Medic. I've been doing this for, let's say, about 3 years now. So I can track the number of social media posts I've ever made, whether on Instagram, whether on Twitter, or whatever. So sometimes it actually helps us to be able to track the number of times you've actually been on social media to maybe talk about a specific issue. For instance, if I'm talking about, let's say, an economic issue, I don't add the Mike Medic to it. But when I'm talking about a health issue, I add the Mike Medic to it, just to show that it's me. Do you get it? So it's a very good tool. That particular hashtag is a very good tool for you to be able to track. So for instance, let's say if we are having International Youth Day, you'll be able to tell the number of times people have used that particular hashtag as to whether it's a very good hashtag to use, because it also helps in the reach. So let's say if you want to look for me and you don't even know my social media handle, just by the tag hashtag Mike Medic at the explore of maybe Instagram or whatever, you'll be able to find me and then be able to reach me. So it's actually a very, very good tool to be able to monitor. Number one, for you to be able to monitor the number of times you've been on social media, and then to also help you to know as to whether when you tag your post by a certain, let's say, a very common hashtag, it actually sells, or it actually goes further. That's what people on social media like Twitter, that's how the Twitter influencers actually they come to become very popular. Let me give you a typical example. A typical example is this guy, Jai Jimino. What's his name? Oh, his name is not coming to mind, but
I think I know who you're talking about.
yes. So when we started having this Fix the Country, the guy behind it,
Yeah.
that's how he actually grew his account.
J.
Kali J,
Okay.
exactly. So Kali J actually rose to fame through this particular hashtag thing. He's the one who brought about this particular Fix the Country. So you realize that before he started the Fix the Country thing, he was doing about 20,000 thereabouts. Immediately after the Fix the Country, he moved up to about 800,000. Now he's doing about 1 million in about, let's say, 2-3 years. But it will take a while. People like me, I've been on Twitter for more than 5 years. I still don't have that particular number of followers.
Yeah.
So it's actually a very good tool to be able to monitor, and then so to help you reach a larger audience. It's a very good tool.
Yeah, that's true, because it's actually a proven fact that the hashtag actually serves as, a means of advocating, connecting social media users to participate in campaigns and all of that. So, Abigail, do you think that in relation to our government, for example, you have people saying that these hashtags are just useless because these people are probably sitting at home and they don't even use social media. Like you might think that this political party or this representative of this political party is behind his phone. It's someone else that's managing it. So at the end of the day, all these things we are doing are not important because it's not going to yield any results. But then you realize that a lot of, international media outlets, for example, this recent Galamsey protest that's going on, you have BBC talking about it and all of that. So aside everything that he has said, what other benefits do you think that these hashtags serve us? Because clearly it's very important.
Well, I think, yes, it is very, very important. And I think Michael has done a good job by literally covering everything there is that I think that as far as the hashtags are concerned. But with people saying that the politicians or people in power do not see what we post on social media, I don't believe that is true, because you see the responses they give. Because recently the hashtag End Galamsey that is going on now with the arrest and all of that, I believe if they did not see it, that would not be warranted. So they do see it, and I think it's important that we use them in our posts. I mean, it gives us a wider audience and reach. So I think it's important that we use it, yes.
Okay, that's interesting. Delali, what about you? Do you actively use Twitter, Facebook? I mean, not so many people use Facebook these days, but Instagram. Do you engage in these kind of things, or you feel like you'll be tagged if you do that? Are there any reasons why you would hold back when you have to?
I am careful when I am choosing what to comment on or retweet. If you take the current protests, for example, you take a post and it's associated with a particular political party. I don't want to repost or retweet that. But if it's an unbiased, authentic, legitimate concern, and we are currently seeing it's a national crisis.
Right.
So if it's coming from a place of genuine concern for the problem, then of course it's easier to like or retweet something like that. And what we're seeing right now is mass democracy. People are standing up for what they believe, should be talked about by our politicians. If they're not going to represent our voices, social media gives us the chance to put our voices center stage and direct the conversation and where we want it to go.
Okay. We've spoken a bit about the benefits of social media. For now, I just want us to talk a bit about what the negative effects are, the detriment, the psychological effects that it has on young people today, the fact that we have so many people engaging in cyberbullying, comparison culture, all the pressures that we face. And I'm happy that we have Michael in our midst because he's a medical doctor, and I want him to talk a bit about dopamine. There's a direct relation with dopamine and social media, just as there is with alcohol or with cocaine, with dopamine as well. So I'll just like him to talk a bit about it and what kind of effect it has on the human brain as young people.
Yeah, so I mean, you've rightly said it all. I don't know whether I should even explain more, but so our brain actually works in something we call the reward system. Okay, so the more you do something, then you actually become happy, especially when the outcome of that particular event is actually a good thing.
Yeah.
So you want to actually have more of a good thing. Do you get it? So that's how the brain actually works. I don't want to go into the neurotransmitters and all, but that's how the brain works. So let's say anytime you go to this particular supermarket, you actually get a discount. So if, I mean, the supermarket will tell you that if you can come here 5 times in a day, I'm going to give you, let's say, $1,000 together with whatever you want to buy. You can take everything. You want to go there over and over and over again because it's actually a desirable effect. Okay, so that's how it is. In the same way, just look at your dogs. Okay, if you like, try this at home. If you have a dog, anytime you're about coming to feed the dog, you actually ring a bell. That tells the dog that there's food coming. Try it every time. You realize that immediately you hold the bell, even before you ring it, the dog is just in front of you trying to come for something, because the brain actually works in a reward system. And this particular reward system is controlled by a certain chemical in your brain called dopamine. Okay? So when you come to social media and anytime you post something, you actually have a lot of people liking it, following. Hey, child, this need the view. Hey, oh, this one, dear, I also want to have it. Where did you go to? I went to this particular place. Hey, then that particular place, anytime I go there, I can always take the picture in this particular format, in this particular way. And more people are actually commenting on it, the more your followership. Do you get it? And actually, it's actually a desirable effect. So you want to do it over and over and over again. So you realize that people will stay so long on social media just because they want to see who next is going to like my post, who next is going to like our post. Even before we came to discussion on this particular round table, Anne-Marie was actually talking about the fact that people actually can delete their nice post and repost, because maybe the previous time they posted the same picture, maybe a lot of people were not on social media at the time, so they didn't get the number of likes. Why would you want to delete something that you repost in 2 hours? It actually doesn't make sense. I mean, but that's actually, it's because of the reward system. It's actually nice. It's actually a nice feeling when you have people complimenting you. That's it. So that's how the brain works. The more you do that, the more you would actually like what you are doing. But the thing is, if you continuously do that, okay, what happens is, anytime you don't have that particular desirable effect, you actually start going down, as in, what is going on? Is something wrong with me? Is something wrong with my face? It actually reduces self-esteem. So looking at it, it's actually a good thing, because it actually helps you to track. You like what you're seeing. The more you're having followers and all that, you have a lot of people coming to you that you should post this for 500 cedis. Post this, because the people have a lot of followership on social media. It is deemed that they would have a lot of reach on social media. So if you post something that would actually increase your followership, so that at the end of the day you can get maybe 500 cedis per post, then you will want to do much more of it. But the thing is, if let's say somebody is not liking it at a point, you would actually start feeling a little bit of a way. It actually can plunge you into depression, because dopamine is not released. That's exciting hormone actually. Dopamine is actually an exciting hormone. Anytime you release dopamine, anything that you like, let's say you're eating, you like eating this particular food, anytime you see it, you're happy, dopamine is released. When you're in love, dopamine is released. So it's actually because the body or the brain is wired in a certain way, such that it's wired in the reward system, that kind of a thing.
Yeah. So just about that, Abigail, have you had any unpleasant situations on social media, especially with cyberbullying, people dragging you and all of that?
Personally, I have not. I don't know, maybe I'm a darling girl, so every post of mine that goes out there is liked to some extent. I've not really received hate comments or speeches and all of that on social media. So based on my experience, I have not. So I may not be able to speak so much to that. Yeah.
But you sometimes get pressured because, I mean, looking at our ages, seeing the kind of places people are going to, people are taking trips to Dubai, they're going to Tanzania, they're going so many places, and you're probably just at home and you're wondering, I haven't even stepped out the whole week, or I probably just had some rice and stew that was cooked at home, and this person is posting some really fancy meal. I mean, you know, sometimes there's no food in the plate too. It's just the way the thing has been, you know, the settings
Design.
and everything.
Few drizzles.
Like, don't you know, some drop somewhere, and then Charlie, you look at your rice and stew with some egg, and you're wondering, don't you feel pressured sometimes?
Oh, honestly, I do, and that has even forced or pushed me in a way to say that I'm starting a YouTube, you know, content creation or something. Meanwhile, on a regular, I don't want to do that. But because of this pressure, because sometimes you are just at home, you go on Instagram, Facebook, and a friend has posted that they are somewhere, you know, and the way the picture comes out, you've been there. You took a picture, it didn't come out as that. Then I'm wondering,
Settings.
is it this, you know? And so I think in a way, the pressure has forced a lot of us to, you know, fall into this settings trap. So you find yourself, even if you don't want to go to a certain place, you want to go. You know, this Buhaha with Bliss, the slides and all of that. I'm scared of height. But because I want to post.
You've seen everybody go there.
Yes,
so.
I've seen everybody go there, bowling and all of that. Oh, I so badly wanted to go there. And funny enough, when I got there, I couldn't even do the slide, you know. So for the precious years, it has gotten to me at most times.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Delali, when it comes to misinformation, you know, people posting things that aren't really true, the fact that it incites violence and all of that, what do you have to say about that? How can people, you know, post in such a way that they don't send out the wrong message or they don't put out the wrong idea on social media?
The responsibility falls on whoever is posting or reposting to make sure that whatever you are sharing, you have fact checked it. Because it's social media, there's a lot of unverified sources. There's a lot of unverified information. There's a lot of sensationalism. And it's easy, like we've talked about the viral trends. Things are going. And a lot of the narrative is fueled by emotions, by our religious ideas, just not grounded or based on fact. And so it's important as young people to fact check. If there's a lot of news that you can go to, there's some reputable fact checking sites that you can look at.
Yeah.
There's Fact Check Ghana. There's
Dubawa.
Dubawa.
Yeah.
There's a number of them.
We were all here in Ghana, and then we heard about Chef Smith, the cookathon thing, you know. The big traditional social media houses had already released this thing. Meanwhile, they are not even checked, you know. So imagine if this was something that was pertaining to us personally, or our health or well-being, or even the government.
Yeah.
And then it is spread out there. Meanwhile, it is false. Can imagine the kind of panic that would have caused. And so misinformation on the social media is there. It is up to us, the usage of social media, to be strict on what exactly we are looking for, and also fact check. There are a lot of apps or platforms that do that on our behalf, just as Delali mentioned. So we should make use of these apps and tools to help us in our social media engagement.
I also think that we should stop looking at how much we can grow our accounts. And so I think that is what pushes people to post the very unnecessary things, even when they know that what they are putting out there is wrong. They're thinking about how much they can grow their following, you understand? And when we continue to do things like that, we send out the wrong message, we incite violence and all of that. But anyways, how do you think as a youth we can encourage each other to, you know, leverage social media in such a way that it has more important benefits for us as against the the negatives?
So it's a matter of choosing what you do on social media, because we have a lot of people on social media. Some are selling, some are into chatting.
Yeah.
So it depends on what you really, really want. Okay. So you find a sect. One particular very, very good social media app is the LinkedIn app. Okay. So if people actually go there just because of the fact that they are unemployed.
Yeah.
But you can actually get some soft skill enhancements from LinkedIn. Sometimes you see someone has posted something, and on that particular post he has added a link to it. You see that it's talking about AI, talking about how to do something we call data science. So you realize that that's how to use it to your advantage. Social media is not just for entertainment. You can actually use it to enhance your knowledge. Okay, most of the statistics that we have around, before they even put it on maybe TV3 or these major media houses, their platforms, some of them come to Twitter, because it's actually very easy. Because if you'd have to wait till about 6 p.m. to make a very major news bulletin, by 12 o'clock they can actually put out that particular news post, so that you know what to do with your life. Let's say you want to join maybe the UN or any of these corporate institutions, banks. Most of them actually have their social media apps running on LinkedIn, even on Twitter. Okay, so it's a matter of you knowing which social media to choose, and on which particular social media, which particular people to follow, so that you know what to do with your life as a young person. In fact, in Ghana, we're always talking about the unemployment rate, or the major bane of the youth in Ghana, in Africa, is actually unemployment. So you can actually use social media to be able to enhance yourself, because sometimes the reason you don't get the opportunity or an employment opportunity is because you are not qualified, or the people that are there, most of them are much more qualified than you. So in the interim time when you don't have employment, you can use social media as an opportunity to be able to enhance your soft skill, because sometimes you have the knowledge but you don't have very good soft skill, like let's say how to manage social media, how to manage your communication skill, how to dress. All these things you can actually learn them on social media. So let's say you are following people like the president of Ghana or president of Liberia or something. You see how they dress, you also dress in that particular fashion. The way they talk, you see that when they are talking, they impregnate whatever they say with statistics. That's another way for you to be able to enhance your soft skill, so that it doesn't look like you just have a degree. You can actually enhance your soft skill as well.
Interesting one, Michael. Abigail, any tips on how to leverage social media as well?
Okay, so this may not necessarily be a tip on leveraging on social media, but I think that a lot of the young people on social media are there because maybe they are bored, they need some sort of support which they are not seeking, so they are just using social media as a way to, calm down on some things or some happenings in their lives. So I'll urge people, if you need support, please go ahead and then seek support. Social media can help you in releasing some one or two, tensions. You laugh out when you are stressed and all of that, but may not be the sole place to find support or solace. And in fact, if you are not careful, you may even bring more problems than you have to yourself before going on to social media. So if you need support, please seek support. Just as Dr. Baini said, there are doctors, psychologists. If you are unemployed, you are home, and that's the reason why you are so much into social media. Step outside, go outside, join organizations, join something that will get you active, instead of spending all your time or all your days on social media looking for something that will excite you in the moment. So
yeah, and I believe that's true, because we have a lot of relationships that are actually breaking, homes, families, whatsoever, because it's as if everybody's on their phones. There are things that are actually happening that you have to pay attention to, but nobody really pays attention to them because we are buried deep into our phones. So I believe we have tackled most of what we sought out to do today. I'll take your final words. Delali, I'll start with you.
So we've outlined the pros and cons of social media, and if we look back to the recent International Youth Day, we realize that the theme was From Clicks to Progress, creating digital pathways for sustainable development. It's obvious that social media is an incredible tool that we can use to put our brands out there, to share our personal content, to, join causes that we care about, to create the change that we want to see. And so I think my final words on this podcast would be that we are in an era where we actually have the potential to create the change we want to see with our fingertips. It's literally and figuratively on our fingertips. And so, yay to social media.
Okay, so finally, I'll add that, as we all know, self-love is self-care. If you love yourself, it means you care for yourself. And so don't be moved by what you see on social media. A lot of the times, it's not really the true reflection of what is happening in whoever is posting's life. And so do you be happy, and I'm sure you'll be fine.
Yeah, so my last words will be that if you're addicted, get consults. Try and then seek help. Okay, so if you are getting addicted to social media, please seek help. How do you know that you are getting addicted? Anytime your phone is taken away from you, you are actually feeling very, very lonely, and you don't want to do any other thing until the phone comes back. The other way is that immediately your phone is actually going off, the way and manner you frantically look for your charger and look for other people's chargers, it should tell you that possibly you are getting addicted and you need help.
On that note, Doc, I feel like based on what you are saying, I am somehow addicted. Who do I talk to? Where do I go to?
It's actually not bad. It's actually not bad. A psychologist would do. You can just start with a psychologist, or you can give your phone to someone, a friend of yours, and tell the person that for the next 2 hours, please, I'm not going to come back for the phone. You can start that way. Or the next 30 minutes, I'm not going to come back for my phone. Even anytime I even come for it, even if it's a call, please, just leave it. Let it ring. That's all. You can start that way before you even go to a psychologist. You are the best doctor for yourself. You are the best doctor for yourself. Yeah.
I believe, too much of everything is bad, which we all know. So no matter what it is, social media, whether it's alcohol, whatever it is, you should know how much intake to have, because it can have a negative impact on you. So we should just, learn how to balance it and leverage it to the best of our ability. It's been such an interesting conversation today. If you're new here, don't forget to like, subscribe to our YouTube channels, and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. My name is Anne-Marie Provençal, and I have been your host for today.